Let's start with the heavyweight clash. It was the 49ers. You see it on your screen if you're watching on YouTube and Peacock, beating the Eagles in the rematch of the NFC Championship game. The 49ers had a quarterback, which made this a much better game. But this was a blowout. It was like Eagles early on, but settling for field goals.
Exactly.
And then the 49ers taking over from then on out. So I want to toot our own horn, because if we're not going to toot our own horn, who's going to toot it? No one's going to toot it.
Yeah.
Every power ranking out there had Eagles number one.
Yeah.
Had Eagles over the 49ers.
Right.
You don't do power rankings yourself, but if you had done power rankings before this game, you would have had the 49ers as a better team.
Yeah, I would have.
Despite the record, 10-1, whatever.
Right.
You don't look at records. You look at teams, and you've been saying it. If you've been listening to this pod, you know Chris has been saying that the 49ers are still better than the Eagles, and they showed it in this game.
Just my big feeling, and anybody that's listening to know, is just that at their best, the 49ers look like the better football team to me throughout the whole year. I know they had a few, injuries, missed some opportunities in the Vikings-Cleveland Browns game and all that. The Eagles always find a way to win. I have much respect for the Eagles, even though most of the world thinks I'm an Eagles hater, right? But there was games where we all walked away with the Eagles going, oh, that was underwhelming, or we've seen them play better than that. And, wow, it's amazing they won the game, but it felt like they didn't play very good football, or they were outplayed altogether. This today, wasn't that. But I think what you said really is the start of the story of unpacking this football game. The Eagles controlled the football game for the whole first quarter, really. Niners defense couldn't get off the field. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts was hit, 3rd and 6 pass over the middle, A.J. Brown first down. I mean, he was finding ways to get completions on 3rd down, and you just went, wow. And at first I was like, man, and the Eagles look like they're protecting, and Hurts has all day. I was like, man, I thought this 49ers D was good, and everybody gets against this Eagles team, and they don't look as good, right? But slowly but surely the game changed. And, of course, them being held to field goals and not being able to punch it in on those first 2 drives, we've seen this all year, right? One team dominates, but if you don't, really take advantage of that domination, it's only a matter of time before that other team starts to get momentum and has their chance to dominate. And when that happened, the 49ers took advantage of it, unlike the Eagles. And they said, okay, we're not going down here kicking field goals. We're going to score touchdowns. And it's just the 49ers, when they're healthy, as we've hit on, and then, Shanahan, his magical ways as far as designing plays, protecting plays as you overplay it, whatever else, and then playing other stars off of other stars, that's where they're at their best. And right now they are healthy, and they're a handful, and they're going to be tough to beat as long as they stay on this course that we're watching.
First player I want to touch on is my favorite player. I think he's number one. I think he might be number one
Deebo?
for me. Deebo is so fun to watch. Jesse M. Reeves says, damn okay, Deebo Samuel silencing all the haters in Philly. I love him so much. I'm going to give him the AWS. Inside the numbers, yes, this is powered by AWS. Deebo Samuel had a day. 4 targets, caught them all, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, great run after the catch. Here it is if you're watching on YouTube or Peacock. It's just like throw the ball to Deebo and let him take off.
Let him do his thing. He's a running back that plays wide receiver, or a wide receiver in a running back's body. Whatever you want to say. The first guy rarely brings him down. And it's rarely brings him down in the aspect of, does he fake you out and make you break your ankles, or does he run you over? Which is like that's not even a thing for wide receivers. You can get run over by a receiver. Yes, Deebo Samuel receiver you can. But the plays you're looking at right here, one was the squiggly that goes across the field was a great screen call by Shanahan out to the left. He caught it behind the line of scrimmage. He had blockers in front of him. Eagles were kind of desperate. The second play, or the other long touchdown you see up the middle towards the left hash there, right? He's got Kittle and Deebo Samuel working the middle of the field. They almost play a little game on the middle linebacker Morrow and go, pick your poison. What all-pro do you want to cover, right? He chooses George Kittle, right? You'll see here. It might have been, I guess I was wrong there. It might have been, it looks like it might have been, what was that, Sherfield or some, I can't remember who the hell was number 10 on the 49ers there. It was Bell. I think it was Bell, right? So I'm wrong about that. But either way, they put the middle linebacker in a bind, right? You see he follows Bell down the middle, and now you got Deebo Samuel underneath it, and that's where he's special. His acceleration, his ability to break arm tackles, and then enough long speed to run away from Darius Slay to actually get in the end zone. So you have, here's a play that is well designed, but the player does more with it, right? you got the screen pass we just talked about, a play that's well designed, but the player does more with it. And then where Shanahan is really special, the other Deebo Samuel touchdown, right? Where they run the ball a few times off the left edge with McCaffrey.
Yep.
And they're having a little success second, third quarter. All of a sudden you're going, man, they got something on this left side, the C-gap type of runs. And he gets a feel for, hey, they've seen it a few times. Let's fake that run. Let me toss it to Deebo around the edge, reverse, touchdown, boom. I think they ran that. That was the second time they ran that play all game. But just magical on how he can play players off of each other and play plays and schemes off of each other. And that's the beauty of the 49ers. And, slowly but surely they wore down that Eagles defense.
That wide receiver screen, it was awesome because he just basically – they had all the blockers out there, but he had to outrun like 3 unblocked Eagles, and he did it. And he scores a touchdown there. The one we just showed you, the 48-yard touchdown, he had, according to Next Gen Stats, a 0.1% chance of scoring when he caught that ball. His expected yak on that play was 2. He got 43 yards after the catch, and actually, since he entered the league in 2019,
is he leading the
he
NFL?
has a league high 909 yards after the catch over expected.
Well, just like that play there, he's in space at least nonetheless. So Shanahan gives them the opportunity to go like, hey, if you can make this one guy miss, we'll see where it goes, right? And then you talk about Brock Purdy, who's got great accuracy. He was on his game today. He throws balls to where receivers don't have to break stride very much, so they get to stay and keep their momentum. And he's awesome because he snatches the ball out of the air. He doesn't catch it. He rips it out of the air so he can run right away and attack you. Special football player that way. And, listen, we saw some of these signs. This Eagles defense has been giving up yards and points week after week. They were one of the top 5 defenses in football like 6 weeks ago. And every week that goes by, they go down about 3 or 4 spots to where after this game, they're going to be about middle of the NFL, which is, underwhelming for a team that has more talent than that. We'll see where this goes though. But they gotta tinker with some things on the defensive side of the ball. Too many easy completions, too many people in space against the Philadelphia Eagles right now. It's a real issue. Now, the 49ers, of course, pose that issue more than everybody else. Taking the body blows early on and then turning the game around on its head. And then as the game went on, too, I know we're talking about the offense and all the great things they're doing, but the defense seemed to get a feel for the Eagles' attack, too. And they kind of stymied that group there together until that third quarter drive. And, their drives and moments of success were few and far between after those first drives of the game.
And that was Inside the Numbers, powered by AWS. I do want to talk more about the 49ers defense and maybe stymieing the Eagles offense there. But it is funny in a game where quite literally Deebo Samuel was the MVP for the offense for the 49ers with those 3 total touchdowns. I know after this game, the chatter is going to be that Brock Purdy should be not only in the conversation now, but maybe top 1 or 2 in MVP voting, because as we have historically done it, and we've talked about this, and you don't like this, but this is how it's historically been done.
Yeah.
The best quarterback is putting up the best numbers on the best team.
I know.
It looks like the 49ers might be the best team in the NFC right now.
Right.
What do you think by this? I know he's not your MVP,
but he deserves to be
in the context of how we've historically done this.
Right.
I do think part of the fact that he was the last pick of the draft is hurting him in this conversation. If he was a first-round draft pick, I don't think he would have any problem.
There'd be more hype around
There
it.
would definitely
be
more hype around it.
I would agree with you there. I do. I totally agree with you.
So what do you think? I mean, there were 213 yards after catch in this game. So he had 100 yards that were on his arm.
Right.
So that's obviously part of our conversation. But what do you think about the chatter around that?
I think it's fair to have him in the conversation. Yeah. Do I look at him as the actual straw that stirs that drink to where I just go, gosh, it wouldn't work without Brock Purdy? No, of course I don't. But it also is working to its capacity because of Brock Purdy, too. His ability with Shanahan's confidence in, hey, this guy knows everything I tell him during the week, and he digests it, and he can put it on the football field and execute the offense perfectly, let alone he'll make a few plays every game off schedule or whatever else when my plan doesn't work, right? So I think there's some real tangible things to that. Do I look at him as the most valuable player on that offense? No. I think right now with this year, I think it is Christian McCaffrey is the most valuable player on the offense. But as far as how this conversation goes, yeah, I understand where we're at here. It's the quarterback. He's going to get a lot of it. I do think, Shanahan last week tried to tell people he thinks McCaffrey shouldn't be in the NFL MVP. So the head coach of the team is trying to tell you who he thinks is the guy that is the juggernaut of their football team there. But as we know, the quarterback gets a lot of the credit. It's going to be a thing we're going to continue to talk about all year. It's a weird year. There's nobody that just takes us by the horns and you go, oh, that's definitely the best quarterback in football and he's killing it and the stats just jump off you, off the map, right? And there's no way you can even argue this. We don't have that. And I think there's some nuance to this conversation this year. We'll see where it goes. But Brock Purdy definitely deserves to be in the conversation.
And the conversation, too, for the 49ers is that some of the MVP conversation could go to those defensive guys, too, because they have had a strong defense for a while, and they had some, in this game, defensive MVPs. Of course, notoriously, it's Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Javon Kinlaw had a couple sacks in this
right.
one. You mentioned it a little bit. What do you think that the 49ers did that made it difficult for the Eagles? Part of it could be the fact that they haven't played in a while, too. Magic School Bus, too, said how much of a factor did the 49ers having more rest than the Eagles play, if any at all. I think the Eagles have played like 3 games in 13 days.
Yeah,
and
they have.
49ers is the first in 13 days.
Right. It's there's something to that, I think also you take into rest. They lost the NFC Championship game last year. They felt like they were better then. They were a motivated football team where I think Nick Sirianni had to kind of work his team up, right? I heard that, last night at the team meeting, he showed all the 49ers clips and things of them kind of talking trash to kind of get them going, right? But it's usually the team that loses the big matchup that has a little bit more of a personal effect on, right? Yeah. Now it's a real rivalry to where it's like, no, we beat you now. That's you. Each team loses once. That's when it starts to get personal and real. But I think the 49ers, of course, are really well coached on both sides of the football. The 49ers, as we've talked about a lot of the times, right, they're one of the few teams in football that will not be compromised by the Eagles' size to where all of a sudden, oh, no, we have to play a defense we don't want to play because we're going to get overpowered or steamrolled by the Eagles' offensive line. So they have the luxury of going, no, we want to play cover 4 zone. And we trust that our front 6 will stop all those runs. We don't need to put an extra safety in or run blitz or do the bear front or whatever else. So, therefore, then they go, okay, now Eagles, you can't just run here and now it's one-on-one on the outside because you've been gashing us with the run, right? You're going to actually have to take some tactical approach to start to beat us. And that's where the 49ers at least have an advantage compared to some teams when they play the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And I think that's the big thing. And I think that's what you kind of saw as the game went on. There wasn't one-on-one opportunities a whole lot with Devontae and A.J. Brown, right? The run game wasn't gashing them quite as much, right? They couldn't get into, as the game went on, 3rd and shorts as much, right? So it became, oh, no, now we got to drop back and throw it on 3rd and 7. And, of course, it's a good pass rush, and they're well coached in the back end there. And I just think the 49ers are playing better caliber football the last 3 or 4 weeks. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And like I said, the Eagles are really good. We've said, I don't think they're as good on either side of the ball as they were last year. And I think the biggest thing, and I'm not saying it can't get to this part, but with no Gannon and no Shane Steichen, excuse me, those are big losses. They are really good coaches, and these guys are new and kind of finding their way here, and I don't expect them to be quite as good as those guys are quite yet.
Well, too, and if you're trying to replicate what you did last year with a little bit different personnel, which I know they have on the defensive side, that makes it difficult, too. Maybe they need something new. They need a paradigm shift there. One last thing here.
They do. We've been talking about it. There need a little tactical, just a little bit of hey, we're lining up in this crazy formation. We might drop out, whatever, but a little bit of just a shake-up to their defense. It won't take much with as much talent as they have.
Yeah.
They just got to show a little bit more, let me make the quarterback and the offense think about what we're actually doing.
And I think that's what it is more. It's more not just can we replicate what these guys did last year? Yeah, that's the easy part.
Right.
It's what would they have done with this personnel playing like they are right now?
Yeah,
you don't know.
No,
right?
And
that's what they've got to figure out. One more thing here.
Yeah.
I want to say CD Mike's comment to you.
Yeah.
With the 49ers handily beating the Eagles this afternoon, are they your favorites to win it all. This is their 8th win this season by double digits, most in the NFL. They lead the NFC West by 3 games right now. So it seems like they're cruising to a division title. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll get that top seed. That 3-game losing streak did not help. But what do you think? Are they your favorites to win it all? Not just the NFC. I'm going to put you on the spot right in this moment.
I picked them to win it before the year. I was a little nervous when they lost that 3-game stretch because it was like shocking. I was going like, damn, the first 5 weeks they were like impeccable, right? So I was like, oh no, is this going to be more what they are? But no, if you made me throw down money right now, I would take the 49ers to still win the Super Bowl. I would. I think what they're doing, first off, I don't even think their defense has played their best ball yet. I think Steve Wilkes is just getting comfortable there on the defensive side of the ball and how they want to run things, and we're seeing what the offense can do. You just look at their ability to score touchdowns on offense, make plays on both sides of the ball, the way they overpower teams and dominate them to such an extent. It's really impressive. And, I just think the 49ers at their best are definitely the best team in football.
I lied. One more thing. On one more thing.
Yeah,
we got to talk about the security guard issue.
Yeah.
With Dre Greenlaw that got him ejected. JM92 says, damn okay, 49ers out-physicaled one of the most physical teams in the NFL. Not even Paul Blart on the sideline could help the Eagles. I guess Paul Blart is a security official. A genius move, by the way, getting Dre Greenlaw ejected. Like a one-for-one trade. Like the Eagles, I guess, had a little shadier security on the sideline from that point forward. But the 49ers didn't have one of their best defensive players in Dre Greenlaw. What'd you make of that?
Well, first off, you don't even know who Paul Blart is.
I don't. Wait.
No, it's the Mall Cop. It's a movie. You haven't seen it.
I thought that was the guy's name.
Kevin James. It's actually a movie, right?
I
know. It went right over you as you were saying. You were delivering like, it's Paul Blart.
I thought that was the guy's name that got ejected.
So the coach, the security guard, right?
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy. Dom DeSandro. Yeah.
You know him.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's great way about him. You go to the combine, he kind of chauffeurs Sirianni around, right? And he's the coach's bodyguard.
Wow.
He's the guy that is the coach's assistant. It's like his own personal assistant, right? He's awesome. He is. What he did in the game was wrong in a lot of ways, okay? Leave it to the players to get in fights and get in the other other's face. You got nothing to do with the game. Just control your sideline, tell your coach to get off the white. That's all you got to do. So, he knows he overstepped his boundaries. That's for sure. But, that's like a no-no in the NFL. If you don't got pads and a helmet on, stay the out of the little physical altercations that go on the edge of the field or sideline or whatever, because you got no say in it, and it ain't fair, right? The football players can go, oh, you said what to me? I'll see you out there on the next play. Dom DeSandro is going to go push. First off, he made the first contact with Dre Greenlaw when you watch this. He pushed him away, said a bad word to him, whatever, and then Dre Greenlaw kind of put his hand in front of him and gave him like a little bit of a semi-jab to the face or something.
He was just pointing at him.
It was kind of just a swipe at the face, I guess is what I would call it.
Yeah.
But big no-no there. I did not like that from Dom DeSandro. Great guy. Like I said, I really like him as a person. He knows he made a mistake there, and you're going to see the NFL send out letters to all 32 teams tomorrow telling people in that situation that you have no business being a part of that. Stay out of the way in those situations.
I hope the NFL doesn't get too heavy-handed with our guy Dom.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. He's a big part of the Eagles organization. I know he's Sirianni's right man. He'll be okay there. He knows. He committed a football no-no there. And then Dre Greenlaw, of course, in a big game like this, you got to keep your cool too.
Sure.
Right? It was a late hit on Devontae Smith. He kind of suplexed him.
Yeah, that was
stupid.
Yeah.
And then to get up and put your hand in the face of a coach or anybody, that's going to be a big no-no with the NFL as well. So, Eagles, fortunately the 49ers didn't miss him, and it all worked out.
How many chief security officers can you name?
Or maybe a few. I don't know if I can name them, but I know a lot of them.
Huh.
Right? I don't know if I can name them.
So this is the one you know by name.
Well, no, I won't even say. If I had to pull it out of my butt, I wouldn't have been able to. But since everybody talked about him today on TV, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Dom DeSandro, right? I had to hear it a few times, and then I was like, oh, yeah, I know Dom. Right?
I was going to say, what luck. The one guy you know the name of know his whole backstory. He's, it wasn't Paul Blart.
No, it wasn't Paul Blart.
That's what I learned today. It's not Paul. Don't call him Paul if I see him.
Yo, what up, homies? Thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe to Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Right now, we got Sunday pod, right? So you can have it Monday morning. We recap all the action. Wednesday, it's the What the Happened podcast. We're going to get deep in the weeds on the key matchups of the week. And then Thursday, I'm picking games with that jerk Florio. So you know where to find us, homies. Keep watching. Peace out. We'll see you.